Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a relationship Groundhog Day? Like no matter who you date, the story always ends the same way? Well, you're in the right place. We're about to dig into the hidden blueprint that's secretly running your love life, and more importantly, how you can finally start to rewrite it.
Okay, let's just start with a question that might hit a little too close to home. You meet someone, right? The chemistry is amazing, they seem totally into you, and then, just as you let your guard down and start to really feel something, poof, they start to pull away.
Or maybe you know the other side of that coin all too well. That awful feeling deep in your gut when the energy shifts. You find yourself rereading texts, walking on eggshells, just constantly wondering, what did I do wrong?
Look, if any of this is ringing a bell, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not broken. What's happening is that you're not really dating different people, you're dating the same dynamic over and over again. And this isn't just bad luck, it's pure psychology. The science of attachment theory actually proves exactly why this keeps happening.
So where does a pattern like this even come from? Well, it all starts with something psychologists call your internal working model. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like the invisible source code that's running in the background of all your relationships.
This blueprint gets created way back in your early childhood. It's basically formed by how your parents or caregivers responded when you needed them. Did they come when you cried? Were they a source of safety? Their responses created an unconscious script that you've been following ever since. And really, this entire complex blueprint boils down to the answers your young mind came up with for two fundamental questions. Question 1, am I, at my core, worthy of love and attention? And question 2, are other people generally safe? Can I depend on them to be there for me when I really need them?
Now, based on the answers your nervous system settled on for those two questions, we tend to develop a specific attachment style. You can think of these as our default settings for connection, the instincts that take over when we start getting close to somebody.
And what's really wild is that research suggests it's pretty much a 50-50 split out there in the world. About half of all adults have a secure attachment style. But that means the other half of us are walking around with some form of insecure attachment. And this right here is where almost all that relationship drama and heartache comes from.
So as you can see, there are 4 main styles. And while they all have their own patterns, we're going to zero in on the 2 that create the most common, the most magnetic, and often the most explosive pairing in modern dating: the anxious style and the avoidant style. Someone with an anxious style isn't just needy or clingy. What's really going on is that their attachment system is hyperactivated. It's like having a smoke alarm that is way too sensitive. It's constantly scanning the environment for any sign of trouble, any hint of disconnection. Their number one core fear is abandonment, and that fear drives them to do what are called protest behaviors. Things like texting a bunch or asking, "Are we okay?" over and over again. It's all just a desperate attempt to close that distance and feel safe again. And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have the avoidant style. Their system's core strategy is deactivation. See, their system learned early on that needing someone was either dangerous or just pointless. So to cope, they just try to shut those needs down. For them, real intimacy feels less like safety and more like a threat to their independence. And that is exactly why they pull away right after a moment of closeness and why they use those classic vague phrases like, "I just need some space."
Okay, so this brings us to the million-dollar question, the infamous anxious avoidant trap. Why on earth are these two styles, with their completely opposite fears and strategies, so powerfully, magnetically drawn to each other? The answer is actually pretty simple and kind of tragic. That intense pull isn't really about healthy chemistry, it's about familiarity. Each person's behavior unconsciously confirms the other person's deepest, oldest fear about relationships. It creates a dynamic that feels, well, it feels like home, even if home is a really painful place to be.
And it becomes this perfect, self-fulfilling prophecy. The anxious person feels that pull, that chase, and their system mistakes all that intensity for deep love. Meanwhile, the avoidant person is drawn to the fact that the anxious partner does all the heavy lifting, which allows them to stay at a safe emotional distance. See how it works? The anxious person chases, which triggers the avoidant's fear of being smothered. Then, the avoidant pulls away, which triggers the anxious person's fear of being abandoned.
And this kicks off that painful, predictable dance. The anxious one pursues, the avoidant one withdraws.
That withdrawal makes the anxious one protest and pursue even harder, which of course makes the avoidant one withdraw even further. Round and round they go, both partners ending up feeling completely exhausted and totally misunderstood, which just proves their original beliefs. Relationships are either unsafe or they're unreliable.
So here is the most crucial point of this whole thing. The real enemy in this situation is not your partner. It's not you either. The real antagonist is the pattern itself. It's what we can call the intimacy illusion. It's the lie that this roller coaster of drama and intensity, of incredible highs and devastating lows, is what real love feels like. It's not.
Okay, so how in the world do you get out of this trap? The most important thing you need to know is that your attachment style is not a life sentence. It's not set in stone. With some real, conscious effort, you can absolutely rewire that relational blueprint.
But first, you have to accept this one hard truth. You cannot change your partner's attachment style. You just can't. Your power is not in trying to fix them. It is 100% in healing yourself. The goal is to achieve what's called earned security, to consciously build a secure attachment style as an adult, no matter what your childhood looked like.
So if you're someone who leans anxious, your main job is to stop abandoning yourself the second that panic hits. Your deep instinct is to reach outward, to text, to call, to get reassurance. The new work is to learn how to pause and reach inward. It's about learning to sit with that uncomfortable feeling and prove to your own nervous system that you can handle it, that you are your own secure base.
Now, if you lean avoidant, your work is pretty much the opposite. It's about slowly, carefully learning that intimacy and independence can actually coexist. The work for you is to practice leaning into the discomfort of connection, just a little bit at a time. It means choosing vulnerable communication instead of just automatically pulling away when things feel like they're getting too close for comfort.
And as you do this work, I want you to remember this quote from John Bowlby, who is basically the father of attachment theory. The desire to be loved and cared for is a fundamental part of being human. That desire is not the problem. Healing is just about rewiring the way you go about getting that need met, so that it leads you to safety and stability instead of chaos.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The real goal here isn't to go out and find some perfect, secure partner who's going to fix you. The goal is to do the work to become a more secure person yourself, because that is how you truly, finally break the cycle for good.